Hi, Tim here. Let's talk about viewing and managing your open positions, orders, and looking at your order history. So, learning how to use these effectively is going to be really important. Number one, it's crucial to be able to use your account at all. If you're trading more than one thing, you have more than just your current position on the screen, then that already is something you track your P&L for the day because of the limits. And then also learning how to use them effectively is going to be very important because it lets you just navigate around much quicker. There's less that you have to keep track of. So let's take a look at these in turn. We are going to start with the positions here. So right now it's empty, and you'll notice here I've got a couple different versions. I'll show you what they all are. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to just buy a few shares, sell a few shares. And so what you can see here is right now there's not a lot of working order. Let me just go ahead. Here you go. Now you can see different panels that I've got open. Obviously, these orders that filled. Let's start with the simplest. You have this sorted with the newest time first. Then you'll see these orders right here. Here's the MD buy that I made. Here's the GME sell. And you can see now in my open positions, there they are. And sell order that I've placed that hasn't yet been filled is in orders. Just a reminder, if you want to add any of these to your layout, you just go terminal and you select positions, not positions balance, that's useful, but it's something else. Working orders and filled orders. You can look at orders history, but for most people, I think that breaking them out into working and filled. Now, got our open positions here. And one thing we can do here, now by default, it doesn't have this column. So all of these, you can select which columns you have. Right click, column headers, and there you go. So by default, there will be some pretty useless columns here. Trading exchange, symbol type, that's always going to be equities US. You can turn those off. And what you can add is PL offset. That tells you how many price ticks it has moved from the start. Now that's based on, I believe, the last price traded. So keep that in mind, right? You keep useful for getting an idea of when you're in the range, that you're not going to get tripped up by that minimum price move threshold. But you still need to keep track of how you put where you're going to have that reduce order execute. And so that's useful. And another thing you can add here is PL offset is the position exposure. You can see here, this is telling me how much of my cloud exposure I'm using based on open positions. There's also open orders, those also factored in. But this is really nice if you want to get a sense of your net exposure, net bias on the portfolio. So I'm actually going to show you here. So one thing I like to do, have it broken down into short. Now you can see, and you can do this, you can have different views. So I will often do this. Here's a pure chronological view of filled orders. Here is it group. You can do that again for all. So positions, if I want to group by short and long, that's really useful because now I can have collapsed and I can say, oh, I am much more on the long side. That can be just helpful if be hedged or you want to have a long short. Now I can see these here. So I can try closing it here. I can have a close button. This will close with a market order. It will also not cancel existing orders. Go to the toolbar, right click on it. You just add these different options here. If I click on it, it will enable, and then that will actually close all positions and cancel all orders by select. This row that I've selected, clear it out. Now, totals, I also don't believe show up. So again, just right click on here, view, I can show totals. So most everything you can get to either by right clicking on the main area of this panel or toolbar, or you can also go into, so if I want to show the toolbar, of course, I can right click on the panel itself and go into settings, and here's some more. So just be aware, for the CLX button to work, I need to have clicked that row. Now, this will just close with a market order. That's not very useful outside regular trading hours. Be aware of that, but it can be useful. Now let's move over to working orders. This is, well, so I can have this grouped by ticker. So I like to do this. So now, again, I can have just the overall view. I can have this sorted however I want, or I can have it grouped by ticker. And what's useful about this in a space constrained context, right? Because I want to be able to see if the bound orders, if part of a OCO. So what I can do actually, and if I'm width constrained, what I can do is I can actually hide the symbol column, right? And have it grouped by symbol. So now I can actually see what symbol it corresponds to without having an actual column, because it's the same, it's AMD. So that's something you can do. And here's all the columns here. Some of these won't ever have anything. Some of them will be useful. So if you're trying to keep track of which each is, you can have actual name there. And you can also show how many remaining, how many filled, and you can put stop price, the price, the main price of the order, stop price kind of thing. Again, that bound to is what's going to show you if it's part of an OCO group. And of course, there's a button to cancel the order. That'll work anytime that the market is trading it. And lastly, let's talk about filled orders. So this is going to be very, very similar, obviously, to the working orders. Oh, one other thing I should put in here, this might come in useful sometime. You go in the toolbar on this, you can actually cancel orders by different, right? So I can say cancel all orders. You can also get fancier. You can say cancel my buys, cancel my sells, stops, cancel limits, cancel day orders or cancel GTC orders, So you can really get selective how you want. And finally, look at filled orders. And again, you can have this done chronologically. Now, what I like to do here is I'll have it chronologically, the most recently filled order, and then I can just glance at that, and I can glance at the clock in the lower right, and then I can easily know if I'm past that 30 seconds or 60 seconds. And now I will have these show with net P&L usually. So it includes the commissions. What I usually have it do is show open gross P&L, because compare it to my balance, commissions that have been paid have already been found, right? So I can have my balance, gross P&L, and together they'll show me where I'm currently. But this is basically your record of the day or a longer period. Like with the day, and you can see here I've got it grouped by ticker, and you do this the exact same way. You have the exact same option, group by, again, then I don't have to have the symbol name column. It gives me a little. I can also go in settings, and I have that option, show totals. One last thing, if you want to export these to do analysis on them, just to keep a record, put it into a journal, to load it into some other software, you can also right click on here and say export. And it gives you the option to export to either a Excel file, a CSV file. You can pick the column. That is going to, again, you just right click on here and you say export. So hopefully you're beginning to catch on here that there's a lot of similarity in the interface of all these tools. They all work very similarly, and with all of them, you use that grouping and the fact that you can have multiple instances of it, multiple views of the same thing. Right? I can see orders, working orders, filled orders, and that really allows a way to quickly get what you need at a glance. You don't have to keep it all in your head. You can just get to it real quick. And one last thing, speaking of that, you can link all these, right? Link all these panels, so when you click it, but sometimes it can be a little frustrating, especially on a slower system. Every time I click, right, to be able to use these buttons, that it switches what's in the chart. You can also leave it unlinked, and you can simply drag ticker over to the chart. That will now be yours. So give that a try as well. All right, everyone. Look, and as always, feel free to join the Discord. Let us know how these techniques work for you. Let us know which one's your favorite, and feel free to show it off in our group trading session. Cheers.